Hello everyone, Kaylee here. Today we are going to talk about edit graphics. And this is more of an advanced edit graphics session. We're going to talk about using the edit graphic meshes component tab. And so I know all of the specials that each of you create are completely different. I'm hoping to go through a lot of the commands over here on the left hand side, and so that you can take these and apply them to the special that you're creating.
Well, isn't that special?
So best practices when you're creating a special is I have a component in my drawing and I want to get it as close to the final item as I can. So I'm going to do things like stretch it out to, I might select, I say I want the right hand side, and then I can also select finishes. If they're not special finishes, I could select some standard finishes that are available to me. The goal is, again, to try to get it as close as you can to your final item. It's not impossible to make these changes at the end, but it makes your life a little bit easier. So the other thing we want to do is specification wise, we want to make this item special in our bill of materials as well. Each manufacturer's components might be slightly differently. On this one, I'm going to go to right click and query, and I have my tower here. I'm going to select the eyeline item and I'm going to say make special. In this dialog box is where, again, I can add my information. So I'm just going to note that this is a special item. I'm also going to make some changes to the description. So instead of 15 inches wide, we're now 20 inches wide. And I'm also going to put some cabinet doors on this particular piece. So I could add that to the description as well. And then I also have a price increase. I'm just going to add a nice round number of $500 here. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to go to the Edit Graphic Meshes component tab. It's the one again here with the grid and the little wrench. And the first thing we want to do is say Make Editable. Click on the Make Editable button. Come over to our item and click on it. You're going to see it change to these lovely orange and yellow colors, and that indicates that this item is able to do whatever we want to it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to stretch this item an additional 5 inches wide. And before I do that and use the stretch, I want to insert a cut plane onto my item. Select my cut planes, and I'm going to insert one to the left of the handle and one to the right of the handle. And the reason I'm doing this is so that we don't have the handles on our cabinet stretch as I stretch the cabinet. So it kind of keeps all the components in place, and we're only stretching what we need to stretch. After you have your cut planes inserted, then you want to select the stretch button. But before you do that, make sure you look at the top here underneath the item select. We want to make sure we select the whole cabinet so that all of the components that we are stretching will all stretch together. So let's select stretch, come over to our cabinet, click, and then I'm going to drag to the left and go down to width change. I'm going to insert half of my 5 inches, which is 2.5 there. And then I'm going to come to the right side of the cabinet and do the same thing. Stretch, drag to the right, go to width change, 2.5, enter. And now we have our cabinet stretched the additional 5 inches wide. Next thing I want to do is I want to grab a handle that we're going to place on our cabinet doors. So in order to do that, I have 3D and 2D up here. Sometimes I like to do this in 3D. It helps a little bit better. I'm going to select, you can see it's just selecting on the handle. And again, it's really important when you select your item to look at this top box of your select. Do I want to select just the individual item or the whole thing? So I want just the individual item. So I'm going to just select that handle that I want. And once I select that handle, then I'm going to see the detach button over here on the left-hand side, it kind of gets ungrayed, and so that lets me know that I can detach that item from there. I'm going to hit detach, and now that is its own little component that I can use. So I'm just going to click on it again. I'm going to hit A for copy. And I'm just going to place one over here onto the right-hand side. We're going to come back to that here in a moment. All right, on to the cabinet doors. So you can use pieces that are already incorporated into your cabinet to make special doors and items. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up to my Tools tab, and at the very bottom of the Tools tab, we have a custom shape tool. So I'm going to draw these cabinet doors that I'm going to place on my cabinet. So I'm just going to go grab my custom shape tool, and I'm just going to I'm going to click it onto the corner here, drag to say where it says the middle. So we're going to go to the middle, and we're going to also bring it out here. I can adjust this in just a moment, but we're going to put it right there just so we can see that item. Now, I did a little bit of cheating, so I know the elevation and the thickness of that this item needs to be, but in my properties box up here, we need to give that an elevation. The elevation is 27.5 inches there, and the thickness is going to be 23 inches high. All right, again, I knew this coming into it. I kind of did a little bit of cheating, but I'm just going to take that cabinet, and I'm going to make sure it's placed correctly using my positioning tool. And we're going to place that cabinet on there. And again, this is where I can sort of adjust the width. Maybe it's 1/2 inch depth. So I can type that in my properties box. Double check. Take a look at it. I also might need to move it back a little bit. It looks like it needs to be inset, so I'm just going to take my positioner tool, and we're just going to grab it and move it, inset it onto our cabinet. So now you can see now our doors inset there. And we need 2 doors, so I'm just going to take and make a copy of this, and again use my positioner tool and place that other door right next to the first one. And now we have 2. I am a little bit of a detail-oriented person. Some might call me OCD, but I would like to come in here. I'll give it a little bit of a reveal to make it look a little more realistic. So you can just shorten up one of the cabinets a little bit there to give it a little bit of a reveal. Okay, so once you have your cabinet doors on there, you can come into your Material Explorer, and if you know the finish that you need to apply, you can apply that finish right to your cabinets as well. All right. You can do it straight from the Material Explorer. Again, it's located on the 3D tab. Over here on the left, we have our Material Explorer, and we can paint our cabinets, our special items that we've created. Now we're going to put the handle on there. So I like using it's not going the correct direction. So I like going to the rotate tool. So again, we're back on our edit graphics tab here. I'm going to go to rotate, and I'm going to click on I like to do this in 3D. It's a little bit easier. Find my handle, click on the handle, and just move it there in space to 90 degrees, 180 degrees there. Rotate 90. Click, and now we have our handle. I like to then come in 2D. I'm just going to rotate it there, and you might need to use like a help line or a help point to locate it properly onto your cabinet. I'm just going to use my positioner tool to put one here, and then I'm going to move it. We're going to move it down. We're going to just say 1.5 inches. Maybe that's too much. We're going to just say 1 inch. But if you have those exact dimensions, certainly you can move it to it where it needs to be. The next one I'm going to do, I'm going to copy, and we're going to place that one and do the same thing. So I'm just going to position it there. I'm going to click on it, press my up arrow on my keyboard, and type 1. And now we have them, but they're not really seated right onto my cabinet doors. So I'm going to click on both those handles, holding down Control to select both of them. And I'm going to use my Page Up button to position them properly and moving the elevation up onto the cabinet. And I think we're just about done with this special. We have cabinet doors with handles. We've got the special information applied. And when you're all ready, what I like to do so that this makes sense in my drawing is I like to do a couple things. First, we're going to select everything and we're going to say Unite. So over on the left-hand bottom side, we're going to click Unite. We're going to say OK, and this will make sure, all of those items are together. This command, however, does not grab the doors that I created. So another thing you want to make sure that you do is you select all of your items, and we're just going to hit right click and we're going to say group, or we can hit G as a quick command there. So group, and now I can copy these specials around my space. Thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful. And as always, have fun creating.